everyone, welcome to JustFeg Network TV, a place where you can get the latest information on things happening around the world, and you are in the right place. Please click the red subscribe button and also press the bell icon next to it so you can be notified for an update on any published news. Adelaja said on a no account should rape or any form of sexual assault be tolerated in any society. This is my response to legit Nigeria request on my take on the recent rape saga against the senior pastor of Coza, Fatoyibo. With regards to the rape allegation made by Mr. and Mrs. Busola and Timi Dakolo, following the fourth-part video interview with Y Naija, I hope this article will explain my stance in regards to the rape and sexual abuse in Nigeria as a whole. Firstly, I must say that rape is an atrocious act condemned by the law in every nation of the world. On no account should rape or any form of sexual assault be tolerated in any society. Culprits must face the full weight of the law, and justice must be served in a court of law. In the West, the awareness of the intolerance and condemnation against rape and sexual assault is so high to a level that every citizen knows how bad it is and the penalties for rapists. It is, however, quite unfortunate that this awareness is lacking the consciousness of our society in Nigeria. The Nigerians are yet to grasp how horrible and damaging rape truly is. To address these important issues, we must start by accepting the sad reality that our society in Nigeria is chauvinistic, a society based on the power and superiority of the man over the woman. In a chauvinistic society like ours, it is not uncommon for men to have their way in whatever they do, especially in relation to women. Therefore, even as the whole nation condemns the grievous act of rape in relation to Pastor Fatoyibo, we must also admit that this crime is not limited to one man. This is a crime that cuts across our society at large. As a society, we must take responsibility for many of the issues happening daily as regards the abuse of the woman in Nigeria. Now, I am personally familiar with false accusation, and based on my personal experience, I will not be in a hurry to condemn or judge Pastor Fatoyibo. I subscribe to the legal principle of the presumptions of innocence that no one is considered an innocent unless proven guilty. I think we should all presume Pastor Fatoyibo is innocent until he is proven guilty by the court of law. Therefore, when I talk about Pastor Fatoyibo in this article, I do not imply that he is guilty of the crime. Pastor Biodun is like a scapegoat of the prevalent evil of our society and culture. Hence, I see two categories of people responding for rape crime, either by Pastor Fatoyibo or by any person. There are two parties to be blamed. First, the chauvinistic Nigerian society at large is responsible for the detestable crime. The Nigerian society exalts men above women and views women only as a means of satisfying any of their men's desire, either it is sexual, domestic, or social. The second blame goes to the church in Nigeria. The Nigerian church is set up in such a way that the senior pastor or general overseer is regarded as infallible. The hierarchy system of the church gives absolute power to the senior pastors, and we know that the ancient wisdom that they say powers corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. The system leaves the church with no form of accountability, especially with the senior leadership, which means that these pastors amass a huge amount of power in their hands. Any man that sees himself as supreme, possessing absolute impunity, falls under the temptation of doing unacceptable things, which could be rape, corruption, suppressions of others, among many others. Any society or culture that encourages impunity in leadership will end up reaping the fruit of perversion, oppression, corruption, and insanity. Consequently, the rape allegation against one of the most popular pastors in Nigeria is simply a small wound that exposes the massive decay that has been going on in the society at large and the church in particular. In my opinion, I would take to advise anyone reading this article and those trying to blame and condemn Pastor Biodun Fatoyebo to reflect on the fact that we are all to be blamed. The truth is, the Nigerian society in raping women daily. The Nigerian culture promotes the supremacy of strong and wealthy men. The Nigerian society encourages the infallibility of big men and the absolute of people in power. Whenever a society is guilty of these things, the powerful men and those in the authority take advantage of their position because they believe nobody can query or question them. Pastor Biodun's case is only a case of the single person that is being held responsible for what he did, but at a time is coming when the whole society will be held responsible for constantly abusing women, either through domestic violence or rape, or in the church, or even in family. Many of our men in Nigeria are actually raping their wives in the names of having sex with them. Many times, wife says no to their husband sexual advances, but the husband will still force their way to have intercourse with them. This is rape right there. As I mentioned earlier, our society is yet to understand the full meaning of rape. The real sense, a rape occurs anytime a man or woman says no, thereby refusing to give consent for sexual intercourse, yet the other party forces his or her way to have intimacy. This is certainly happen in families all the time. I know this will be a strange or rather unacceptable definition of rape to many Nigerians. Nevertheless, this is the definition of rape. So before you start to judge, condemn, and throw stone at Pastor Fatoyebo, please take time to reflect. Another way our society and church is guilty of rape is in our silence on issues of sexual abuse. If we do not talk about it, it means we do not recognize it. If rape is perceived as a taboo topic and doesn't exist in our discussion, it means that the crime doesn't exist. Even though rape is a crime, according to the law, it is not yet established as a crime in the mind and subconscious of our people. We now have to address it. We have to make rape a common topic in the subconsciousness of every Nigerian. We must change our worldview in regards to women in Nigeria. We need to honor women. We need to change the way we view women in our society. Women are not second-class citizens. Women are not objects to satisfy our desire. Neither are women supposed to be humiliated, suppressed, or oppressed in any way. I think this issue with Pastor Biodun Fatoyebo is an opportunity for the Nigerian society and church to do some self-reflections. It is an opportunity for us to reflect on our behaviors and how we are all guilty. Rather than throwing a stone at one person, we should all reflect on how to make our society better, repent, and change our attitude to our daughters, sisters, wives, and women generally. Now, coming to Pastor Fatoyebo Biodun, I have seen at least 2 videos of different women describing how the assault happens. I found their account of events difficult to dispute. Even though the court of law is yet to find him guilty, the story of this woman are so credible that it is difficult to think that they would have made up such story. However, I have some thoughts to share if he is guilty. The first thing I will say is that if these things are true, the Pastor Biodun Fatoyebo has a pathological and psychological mind distortion. However, I must say that this distortion is one that is common to many people vilifying him right now. It is a distortion common to psychopaths and narcissists. I will say that this distortion is as a result of excessive power. From what I have read about Pastor Fatoyebo, he used to be a cult leader in the university, which means he's familiar with power and probably obsessed with power. This, however, is not something particular to Pastor Biodun Fatoyebo, as 90% of Nigerian pastors are not servant leaders. Many of them have the same issues. They are power drunks and power addicted. Most of the so-called political leaders and even elites in Nigeria are narcissistic psychopaths. This is not necessarily because they are bad or evil by themselves, but our society makes leaders become narcissistic and psychopaths. Our society worships success and successful people. Our culture encourages the worship of people in the higher position, thereby grooming them to become narcissistic and psychopaths. What we see right now in Pastor Fatoyibo case is a manifestation of what happened every day on our pulpit, in our church, and our society. Another popular bishop in Nigeria is known to have slapped a young girl, accusing her of being a witch. Any truthful Nigerian will tell you that this is a regular practice in our society. Powerful men slap weaker people, especially if they are women. That is also abuse, just as rape is an abuse. So if you know that this kind of abuse happens daily in our society, can you now imagine the huge amount of rape that are going to daily yet are not reported? Rape is a crime of our elite. It is also the crime of our culture that pushes influential people and elites of our society to become abusive to the people under them. The solution to this menace is for us to embrace a society that would understand that leadership is all about service. We need to change our value system in Nigeria to embrace stewardship and service as the highest demonstration of humanity. We must begin to let our elite and leaders know that to be a leader means to serve the weak. Leadership means to help the people in a worse position other than yourself. Rape and other abuses are natural consequences of the kinds of society that we have in Nigeria. Before I conclude, I want to address and other questions of the possibility that Pastor Biodun Fatoyibo doesn't quit acknowledge what he has done, going by the fact that he has denied the rape accusation and his wife has also denied the allegation. For me, I would say that it is hard to believe that Pastor Fatoyibo doesn't understand what rape is. He is an educated person, well-traveled and well-read. At that level of exposure and understanding, I think he should know better. He should know what is rape. Although, to be insincere, most rapists in Nigeria don't know, talk less of agreeing that they are engaged in rape. Most rapists in our society don't even recognize that when a woman says no and you force her to be intimate with you, that is already a rape. Going by this, I could say I understand where Pastor Biodun Fatoyibo is coming from. In his mind, it could be that he thinks that since he was able to get this woman to succumb eventually, it means he got their consent. Because from the stories of the woman, even though they are well telling him no, they eventually succumb to his pressure, and because they succumb in the mind of a narcissistic and psychopath, it takes the submission to means consent. This is what we have for you today. What are your opinion about this? Please kindly put your comments at the comment section below. Thank you all for listening once again.